The 2027 Toyota Tundra is set to make a significant impact on the full-size truck market with its upcoming mid-cycle refresh. This update goes beyond just cosmetic changes, introducing genuine capability upgrades, new variants targeting different buyer segments, and refinements that address long-standing issues. If you've been waiting for Toyota to prove the Tundra can compete with the best full-size trucks on the market, this 2027 update is bringing exactly what you need to see. Enhanced visual identity. Styling first, because that is what the camera sees. The grille is 14% larger by area but 19% more open by volume, so the twin radiators on the hybrid and the HD diesel both get 700 cubic feet per minute, more airflow at 45 miles per hour. The new shape is not the Tacoma's angry squint. It is a hex mesh that folds outward like a jet intake, stamped in one piece, so there is no plastic filler panel to fade. Headlamps switch to a dual-element LED that uses 18 watts less per side and throws 410 feet of sharp cutoff low beam. Exactly the distance the Tundra needs to stop from 60 miles per hour with the new 14.1-inch brake rotors. Toyota moved the daytime running lamp into the upper brow so the main projector can drop lower in the housing. The result is a 31% reduction in glare for oncoming traffic according to the SAEJ 3069 test that will go live next year. Rear lamps are now a three-piece modular design, outer lens, inner optic, and a sealed LED cartridge that snaps out with 2 screws. If you crack one on a trail, the part is $97 instead of the current $411 whole lamp assembly. Trail Hunter brings serious off-road capability. Trail Hunter is not an appearance pack with fancy paint. Thanks to a 1.9-inch front and 1.5-inch rear lift created by longer Bilstein position-sensitive dampers, wheel travel grows to 10.9 in front and 12.2 in rear, numbers that match the current Raptor but on a live axle. Toyota adds a forged aluminum upper control arm, a steel skid that covers the steering rack, and an electric disconnect for the rear anti-roll bar. The onboard air compressor is the same 1.5 CFM unit used on the Land Cruiser 300. It mounts under the passenger seat and fills a 35-inch tire from 15 to 35 PSY in 2 minutes, 40 seconds without the engine running. Payload is still 1,680 pounds because the springs are retuned, not just softer. You can order the Trail Hunter on SR5, Limited, or TRD Pro trim. But the only 2 colors are Desert Tan and Lunar Rock, both of which use a matte clear coat that hides pinstripes from a brush. Heavy-duty variant. Now the big story. Tundra HD Toyota has been road testing the 4.5-liter V8 twin-turbo diesel since late 2022, but the spec sheet that leaked in May shows the final output is 375 horsepower at 3,200 revolutions per minute and 825 pound-feet, from 1,600 to 2,400 revolutions per minute. Those numbers understate the story. The engine makes 1,470 pounds-feet at the crank during the 10-second overboost event that triggers when the transmission is in tow/haul and the gooseneck sensor detects more than 15,000 pounds. The block is compacted graphite iron with a forged crank and cracked caps, the same basic architecture Toyota uses in the global Land Cruiser 79, but the heads are new and the compression ratio drops to 15.8 to 1 to meet USNO X limits without EGR cooling. A single variable geometry turbo lives in the valley, fed by short cast runners that keep the 48-volt E-assist motor spinning below 1,000 RPM to erase lag. The transmission is a jointly developed Aisin 10-speed that uses a cast aluminum pan and internal filter, so the fluid change interval is 150,000 miles even under severe duty. Toyota rates the combination for 22,100 pounds with a gooseneck or 19,800 pounds with a conventional hitch when you order the 3.55 axle and the max tow package that adds a 36-gallon fuel tank and a Class 5 receiver with a 2.5-inch pin. Frame rail thickness grows from 1.7 millimeters to 2.4 millimeters, and the rear axle is a Dana 80 with 11.8-inch ring gear. The truck still rides on coils, but the spring rate jumps to 1,050 pounds-inch, and the shocks move outboard of the frame rails for better damping leverage. The result is a payload of 2,620 pounds in a regular cab 2-wheel drive work truck that stickers under $52,000. Suspension design. Coil springs stay on every Tundra, even the HD. Toyota's chassis team switched to a new grade of 1,960 megapascal steel for the rear links, so they could make the arms longer without adding weight. The longer arm reduces the angle the coil has to work through, which means the spring rate can be 18% softer while still carrying the same load. Ride frequency drops from 2.4 Hz to 1.9 Hz unladen, the same as a Camry. Yet the truck sits level with 1,800 pounds in the bed. New frequency-selective dampers use a secondary piston that opens at 8 inches per second shaft speed. You feel the difference on concrete highways where expansion joints used to kick. Toyota also added hydraulic rebound stops inside the shock body, so when you hit a pothole at 70 miles per hour, the suspension tops out with a cushioned sigh instead of a metal clank. The steering rack keeps the same 15.3:1 ratio, but gains a variable rate electric boost map that adds 0.8 pounds of on-center weight for every 100 pounds of tongue weight, so the wheel feels consistent whether you are empty or pulling a 12,000-pound boat. Powertrain reliability improvements. Powertrain reliability moved from question mark to bullet point. Toyota has built 340,000 of the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 now, and the warranty claim rate for the early issues, hot side turbo oil seals and coolant bypass valves, has fallen to 0.8 per 1,000 trucks, below the segment average. For 2027, the engine gets a new two-piece oil pan with an integrated cooler that drops oil temp by 18 degrees Fahrenheit during sustained 8,000-pound towing at 100 degrees Fahrenheit ambient. The timing chain guide is now polymer-coated aluminum instead of pure plastic, and the water pump moves to the front of the block so it can be replaced in 45 minutes without removing the intake. The hybrid motor is unchanged at 48 horsepower, but the inverter switches from silicon to silicon carbide MOSFETs, shaving 11 pounds and raising peak efficiency from 94.2 to 96.1%. The battery pack still uses prismatic cells from Panasonic, but the chemistry shifts to a higher nickel cathode that adds 0.6 kilowatt-hours without enlarging the case, so electric-only launches last to 18 miles per hour before the engine starts. Fuel economy for the 4x4 hybrid is EPA, rated 22 city, 26 highway, numbers that beat the 2.7-liter EcoBoost F-150 by 3 miles per gallon in combined driving. Interior refinements focus on usability. Inside, Toyota left the dash alone and fixed the details owners actually complained about. The 14-inch screen now boots in 4.2 seconds instead of 11, and the wireless CarPlay handshake completes in 6 seconds even if you are walking toward the truck with the phone in your pocket. Toyota added 2 USB-C ports under the rear seat that tap a dedicated 30-watt converter, so iPads charge at full speed while streaming. The seat foam is reshaped with a 2-density insert that removes the pressure point under the thighs. Long-distance drivers who tested 600-mile days reported 32% less lower back fatigue. Limited and above get a new acoustic windshield laminate that cuts 2.1 decibels at 70 miles per hour, the same tech Lexus uses. The 1794 edition swaps the old saddle brown leather for semi-aniline hide sourced from the same Austrian tannery that supplies BMW. It is 0.4 millimeters thinner, so the seat heating reaches 95 degrees Fahrenheit in 90 seconds instead of 140. Climate control now uses a humidity sensor on the windshield to predict fog 30 seconds before it forms and pre-dry the air, a trick that saves 0.3 miles per gallon by avoiding unnecessary AC load. Competitive pricing strategy. Pricing is locked for 47 states. Toyota is still negotiating with California and Texas over emissions credits. The base SR, regular cab, 2-wheel drive, 6.5-foot bed opens at $40,175, including the $1,495 destination charge, $625 less than a comparable F-150 STX. Trailhunter starts at $58,990 on the SR5 crew cab short bed 4x4, undercutting the Ram 1,500 Rebel by $1,800 while including the compressor and sliders as standard. Tundra HD Diesel begins at $51,850 for the work truck configuration and crests $75,000 for a Platinum Crew Cab 4x4 with the full tow package, still $3,000 below a similarly equipped Ram 2500 Limited. Production starts in San Antonio this October, with dealer lots expecting trucks by December 15th. Toyota has already accepted 11,000 retail orders and plans 85,000 units for the first model year, split 60% gasoline, 25% hybrid, and 15% HD diesel. If you want a trail hunter before next summer, Toyota says place the order by August 1st. The Moab allocation is already 40% spoken for. That is the 2027 Tundra in hard numbers. Smoother, stronger, and finally available in the heavy-duty class Toyota ignored for 3 decades. If you have been waiting for a reason to cross-shop Toyota against the domestic 3, the wait ends this winter.